Once again, we're back. We're here to talk about boxing, baby. Another edition of the Boxing Chit podcast. You can also listen on Zencaster, in addition to YouTube, of course, any other podcast platforms. Some things might need to be updated, but certainly welcome, everyone. Welcome. We're glad to have you here. Of course, it's myself, Joshua, along with Boz, holding it down in the Boxing Haven, which is across the Atlantic. How's it going with your Boz?
Yeah, pretty good. Now finally today we get some rain, and it's the weather has cooled down. So that's what we really needed because it had gone too damn hot for like a week or something.
Good to
Yeah,
go.
we are really not used to that stuff. I mean, yeah.
Oh yeah,
So
yes, it can get a little muggy, I'd imagine, around those parts.
yeah,
But certainly good to have some rain. We're on a little hot streak here, but certainly it's turning over, I guess you can say. But today is a pretty nifty hot day right here, so we'll see how it goes. Don't plan on being out there. Gonna keep it all inside, but it is the Juneteenth weekend, so a lot of festivities are going to be going on over the weekend. They
oh
have been
yeah,
going on, and
Juneteenth
Juneteenth, of course, is tomorrow. So
tomorrow.
be sure to jump in the mix tomorrow as we talk about Jack Johnson in another edition of Boxing History Every Night. It's going to be a discussion on Jack Johnson, who was from Galveston, Texas, the, I guess you can say, home of Juneteenth in some sense. But
Yeah,
that being said, we look forward to that. And of course, we forward to the discussion here today. Everyone that has joined us. Speaking of such, salute to Mr. Pads in the building right here. I appreciate you being here, Mr. Pads. Always great to have you in the mix, without a doubt. Thanks for showing love, dropping by. It says, big up Josh and Boz. Wow, that Regis fight had some controversy to it. Saw lots of people in the community say it was a bad decision, etc. The Zoo performance, however, round of applause, without a doubt. Round of applause for that one. But certainly, you make some very compelling points there. Miss Fat says also appreciate the moderator status too, Josh. Hey, anytime, buddy, anytime. Appreciate having you on board and in the mix. So we'd love to have the dialogue and love to have you come by, Mr. Patch. Thanks for dropping by once again, as always. Salute to Rodolfo Rivera Jr., who says, Boz in 86, glad to have you in the mix here, Rodolfo. We need some rain over
hey,
here, Boz. That's what Rodolfo says. He's out there in California. We know it can get dry
right.
there.
Well, there's been a lot of rain in most of Europe actually until now. So yeah, I know where I come from. Those parts in former Yugoslavia, it's all rain, rain, rain,
Oh,
mostly.
yeah. Yeah, Rodolfo was telling me of the, I guess you can say, destruction of the Bosnian team,
Oh
national team
yeah,
against Portugal with Cristiano
Portugal.
Ronaldo back in the day.
Well,
They had some moments, but certainly Portugal's a tough out.
yeah, they did try. I mean, they tried, but yeah, that was just too much for them to overcome. Eventually, I
Eden Dzeko
I
in the mix.
didn't really watch the whole game, but I heard that they Boston played well in the first half, and then yeah,
Yeah,
they
it was
started.
pretty tight in the beginning. I didn't see it. I watched the
Yeah,
highlights of it and I saw Eden Dzeko. I didn't know Eden Dzeko was still out in the mix playing.
yeah, he's 37. It's amazing. I mean, these players today are able to play longer than
Mhm.
it was the case like 20 years ago. It was like 35, and they are done on the
Yeah,
national team. So now you got players at 38, 39 playing still for
yeah, it's pretty
yeah,
crazy. Pretty crazy. We see similar thing in boxing. Speaking of such,
yeah.
boxing. That's what we're here to discuss. Of course, a lot of great things going on, but yesterday probably the highlight marquee fight in terms of that quick thirst quenching action that makes a statement in the mix of all the fights is certainly Tim Tszyu taking on Carlos Ocampo. We know that Tim Tszyu is
Mhm.
currently an interim title holder at 154 pounds, which is the division that Jamel Charlo is also at, who is the undisputed champion, though he's been out with injury. He's been scheduled to fight Tim Tszyu previously, but injury push that back. So Tim Tszyu has been trucking along regardless. So Tim Tszyu is WBO interim world junior middleweight championship or champion, that is. So this went down at the Gold Coast Convention Center in Australia, Broad Beach, Australia, to be exact.
Wow, really? Oh,
Tim Tszyu versus Carlos Ocampo. And Carlos Ocampo, you might know him from being in with the likes of Errol Spence at 147 pounds. He fought a tough fight against Sebastian Fundora not too long ago,
yeah,
and he lost that matchup. It was close, you know. Some probably could have argued for him, maybe in some capacity. Very
yeah,
close fight. That being said, he bounced back with the win, and he was here to take on Tim Tszyu, who has been on a hot streak and seems to be the man out in Australia. And the fight in itself went down in quick fashion. First round knockout. It was over. It was over. A huge shot. I can't remember if it was a right or
yeah.
left. He ended up taking out Ocampo, and you just knew when he went down for what was the second time, it was over. What did you think of that performance, Boz, and what that means for Tim Tszyu and his status at 154?
Of course, that was a really impressive performance. I mean, short and sweet. Yeah, I mean, I think Ocampo was pretty much the ideal opponent for him physically because he was taller and ranger, but obviously Tim can fight those guys pretty well, and because he's got better movement and everything. I mean, not least power, of course, to finish them off quickly. I mean, only Errol Spence has knocked out Ocampo in one round and before. So that tells you, I think, pretty much, a lot about the quality of Tim Tszyu, and I think he presents right now at 154 the only realistic challenge for Jermel Charlo. Definitely, I mean the most. How do you say, the biggest threat to his throne anyway, definitely. And I can see him beating Charlo. No, of course, not in the same fashion
Yeah.
as Ocampo, but yeah, I can see him doing something. Well, maybe even by a late stoppage. Who knows? I hope we'll get to see anyway that fight.
Yeah, that will be an excellent matchup right there if we were able to get to see Tim
Yeah,
Tszyu versus Jamel Charlo. I think Jamel Charlo is on the road from recovery, if not recovered at this point. I'm not 100% sure of the status, but I know that he seemingly is in a better place than what he was at the initial point in which they
yeah,
were going to fight. So hopefully that might come sooner rather than later. And I think it's one of the better ones in the sport of boxing. Certainly, if you think about the matchups across the division, the best fight at 154 pounds and pretty much one of the best fights in boxing. One of those top 10 fights in boxing because you have
oh
two
yeah,
fighters. Jamel Charlo, he has the one loss to Tony Harrison, which he avenged. He's been in there with another or pretty much the majority, if not all, of the top level 154 pounders since he's been fighting at 100. Well, I guess he's always been fighting at 154, but he's been in there with all of the top guys, at least going through mandatories, etc., etc. You think about Tim Tszyu. I mean, just where he's come from, even
yeah,
say a year ago, his rise to prominence in that division and in the sport in general. It can always be tough for those following in the footsteps of a father who was a great boxer, but he seemed to take it on very well. And right now, he looks like he has the goods. And I think they do a good
yeah.
job in terms of he's not looking to kind of live up to that same legacy. He says he's just trying to be number two, the second in line, just build on and add to the legacy. Hey, and what more can you ask for, really? I think that's good stuff.
Yeah, he has definitely same kind of vicious power and the approach like his father, and the kind of accuracy as well, the punching accuracy that Kostya had. And he had tremendous focus and concentration as well. He had, and I think Team probably also has that. But yeah, I mean, it will be interesting to see how he takes the punches of Jermel, of course, who is a really good counter puncher as well, who can catch you coming in, with a
Yeah.
really good punch, of course, which he did to Castaño, last time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that Tim will probably fight a little bit more. I would say not just rush in
Yeah,
as
right.
much as yeah, Castaño did. So
Certainly,
yeah,
certainly, I can see that as well. Real quick, shout out to Hardline Boxing, aka the Boxing Librarian. Says, hey, 86 and Boz. Hope you guys are well. Appreciate you being here, BL. As always, be sure to check out BL.
yeah,
Certainly one of the men for the history of the sport. And if you want to learn a ton about the history of the sport, he really breaks it down in great detail with a number of fighters, those you will have heard of and those you will not have heard of. And I think that's the beauty of it. He has probably the most content on the most boxers on YouTube. So definitely a worthy follow, especially if you're in the history of the sport. Boxing is history without a doubt. So appreciate you being here. Hardline Boxing Talk. Thanks. Man, Rodolfo had stated both Charlos should fight on the same card. They've been out for a year plus, so it makes sense. Without a doubt, they should definitely do so. I don't know what the status of Jamal
yeah,
is. I know he's been dealing with, I guess, some crazy type of injury or something. I don't know, but it's been a good while for him for sure. Hardline Boxing Talk says, I'm frustrated with Jamel. I was hoping he got the undisputed. He would stamp his feet and say to all fighters, come get it. I was hoping he would fight all comers and try to become a great light middleweight, but inactivity is killing it. He's far from Norris and Co at the moment. Shame. Yeah. Don't know what's going on with that injury. He was on a pretty solid trajectory there. It was like he was lining him up, especially compared to his brother. Jamel was in the mix, but yeah, this is starting to be a delay. Inactivity can definitely be a spoiler of things, and
mm,
hopefully he can get back in there, and we get to see him with Tim Tszyu. I don't know the degree of that hand injury, but hopefully his hand is the same, so that we can get the best fight that we can get out of the two of them. But I think it's going to be a great one. Great point you made there, Boz. I think that Tim Tszyu would be certainly more poised, and he wouldn't
yeah,
kind of charge in there and just seek and destroy mode like he did with Ocampo. I think he was trying to make a
yeah,
statement right there, but he's generally a pretty poised fighter, which makes it very interesting against Jamel Charlo, who will, of course, choose to box. And I think that Tim Tszyu, it looks like he has legitimate power there at 154. He's a solid guy,
mm,
so I think you'll have that respect factor there, and Charlo will respect that power. So I think he'll opt to box more. Probably he'll be on the outside in this contest. Tszyu, we know he does a good job of cutting the ring off. We got to see bits of that against Tony Harrison. He just kind of
yeah,
remained calm and poised in there. His demeanor never changed, and that says a lot right there. So that makes it a very interesting contest. And like you said, hopefully we actually get the contest, because I guess it's bordering on a year now since we were supposed to have it, or at least somewhere around there, because it was supposed to happen a while back. So hopefully we get
mm,
it, and hopefully we don't get another Charlo on the sidelines for a long time,
yeah.
even
That
though it
would
has been
be
the case with Jamal Charlo at middleweight, who has been pretty much 2 years or so since he last fought.
too much wasted talent. Yeah, but the thing is, I think with Jarmel, he has peaked with that destruction of Castaño. So now I don't know really. Sometimes it tends to go downhill from there. I mean, and the fighters get too maybe content with their achievements already sometimes. But I don't know. Maybe not. I hope not that he. This is all about seeing him being injured and yeah stuff like that, being forced to be inactive more or less.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah, bless you there. But yeah, it is injury. Rodolfo says, yeah, I don't know why he's been out for a year. Does anyone know? I know it initially started out with some kind of hand injury that
yeah,
dethroned the first fight between Charlo and Tim Tszyu. So I'm assuming maybe it's complications surrounding that. I know he was on one of the Showtime broadcasts not too long ago for a fight that was going on, or I might be even thinking about Tim Tszyu's last fight, which was a few months back. So it
mm,
seemed like he was in recovery mode, I would say. So I don't know what's going on now. I'm going to have to dig into that a little bit more, right, as well. Rodolfo, not sure, but it started out as some kind of hand injury, and that hand injury has lingered on for pretty much a year now. So we'll have to see what
Yeah,
goes on from here forward. Harlan Box Talk says 86 and Bod, you're welcome. I love the show. Hey, appreciate it. Hardline Boxing Talk. Of course, always love to jump in the mix and check out your stuff when you're live and all the things that you're dropping. And of course, the project that I know that we've been in discussion and working along with Random Acoustic Thoughts, Scrapbook Boxing, all worth to follow for sure, especially in their history. So I look forward to that as well. Hardline Boxing Talk says, I really like Boz. Does he have a channel? Yes, Boz does have a
I'm
channel.
gonna
The
write it
name of
down.
it, Kylo Ren Boz, I'm thinking, right?
Yeah,
The new name at least, right? So yeah, he dropped it in the mix there. Kylo Ren Boz. Let's see it.
yeah, that's
Kylo Ren
my
Boz.
current name there.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
so you can check
one
him
of
out
the
going live. I know we go live at varying times, but certainly, yeah,
yeah.
we'll appreciate the love there. Hardline Boxing Talk. So yeah, it's
My
always great.
channel is about just to quickly say it's not just about boxing, but yeah, also about boxing. So
Oh yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I can tell you. Yeah,
Yeah, everyone be sure to check it out. Kylo Ren Boz, KYLORENBOZ. If you're on YouTube, you don't necessarily have to even be on YouTube, but go check it out. Kylo Ren Boz. If you're on YouTube, certainly give them a subscribe as we keep this thing going for sure. And we appreciate
you
all of the
want.
support for everyone. Hardline Boxing Talk said he will subscribe. Appreciate you, Hardline Boxing Talk.
Thanks,
And everyone, as mentioned, give Hardline Boxing Talk a subscription.
Arline.
He is worth the price of admission, as they say about
I
certain things.
like I like that name, Hardline Boxing Talk.
Yes, yes. Draws a
Sounds
hard line in the sand. Either get with it or get out.
yeah. Introducing the Hardline. You know, the first album of Terence Trent D'Arby was called "Introducing the Hardline."
There
According
it is. There it is. Good stuff right there for sure. Hard line. Let's go, baby.
sign your name
But
across
yeah,
my.
so no, so 154, 154 pounds. That's where things are right now. We have sort of a little clouded area there. We know that it's Tim Tszyu and Jamel Charlo right now, but the longer that fight
Yes.
lingers out there without happening, certainly that brings about questions. I think
Yeah.
Charlo still
No.
has all of the belts outside of this interim WBO status, but he was the undisputed champion. I think that is still the case, but I'd imagine some of those sanctioning bodies are going to start to call in here very soon if they haven't already.
Now that Fundora is, has got knocked out, now
Oh
we
yes,
got one candidate less, at least for the time being, for
yeah.
Charlotte.
For the time being, vicious knockout there for Fandora. Hey, that was a nice knockout. I can't for some reason I
Yeah,
can't remember the guy he was fighting. Was it
yeah.
what was his name?
Yeah,
But he was
me
a solid
neither.
guy. He was a
Yeah, he
solid
was
guy.
also, I think, he's Hispanic, wasn't he? I believe
Yes,
so.
yes, he is. I have to look that up. But yes, Sebastian Fandora, he was on a run. I guess it was inevitable. But Brian Mendoza, yeah, that's who he is. Brian
Oh
Mendoza
yeah,
is a solid fighter.
Mendoza.
But a vicious knockout on Sebastian Fandora, seventh round of their contest. If you haven't seen that, definitely one worth checking out. And this was for a WBC interim super welterweight championship. So there is another interim
Wow.
out there, as a matter of fact. And it is that one with Brian Mendoza.
Oh,
So
yeah, he already knocked out Jason Rosario, Banana.
oh yeah, yeah.
What a
Banana. He did knock out Banana. And Banana was
yeah.
on a little streak, even though a lot of those fights were in the Dominican Republic. He was on a streak. Then Mendoza took him out, and that kind of
Hmm.
slowed down the train of Banana once again. It's like he gets so far, and then something sets him back. But he'll have a good showing for
Yeah,
the beginning of a fight or whatever, and then he ends up going down. It's just one of those things.
yeah.
Real quick, I'm pulling up the
What
ring
a way
rating
to
the welterweight. Or,
what a
sorry.
way to follow up. what a way to follow up a victory over Banana with knocking out Fundora. That's awesome, pretty awesome.
Oh
He's
yeah,
had a
yeah, yeah.
great year, that guy, Mendoza. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good stuff. Yeah, that is a good way of following things up. Uh, Rodolfo Rivera says you should wear that suit and glasses that you wore on your channel vibes looking gaffer.
Yeah,
You're
that's
gonna have to
just
throw it
me,
on.
me doing an impersonation of somebody who was a really big celebrity in where I come from. A really comical person.
Maybe it's time to take
Unfortunately,
that show on the road.
yeah. And unfortunately now he's passed away, but at least he cannot, sue me or anything if he got pissed.
Mm-hmm.
No, just
All
kidding.
right.
It's not like he would, but.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, probably appreciates the love. Appreciates the
Yeah,
love. So I pulled up the actual ring ratings, and right now we have, of course, the champion Jermell Charlo, undisputed champion outside of the interim belts, of course. But we have number one, Tim Tszyu, as expected. Sebastian
mm,
Vendora is still number two, which I guess you can see that being the case in some sense. He
yeah. I
didn't
mean,
jump over, Brian Mendoza didn't jump over him in the ring rankings at the moment. But then you have number three, Liam Smith, who picked up that big win over Chris Eubank Jr. not too long
yeah,
ago.
but that
Uh,
was at 160.
okay, yeah, you're right. That was at
Yeah, so I
160.
don't think he's
So
actually
yeah,
gone to 160. I don't know why they have him still
okay, so
at
yeah, these rankings probably need to be updated in some sense. So
yeah.
maybe we will see Mendoza bumped up to number two or something of that
Yeah.
nature. Then you still have Erickson Lubin out there, Israel Madrimov, who I like Israel
Oh,
Madrimov. He was on a
yeah.
little trajectory there, and then things, kind of
Another, yeah, he's
waned
very
off a
good.
little bit. We weren't seeing him as much, but he is a talented young fighter. I'd like to see him more. You
Yeah.
also have Jesus Ramos, who I think looks pretty darn good. Jesus Ramos, he really recently took out Joey Porter or Joey Spencer, actually, who is this young fighter out of America who started when he was like 17 or something like that and built up a lot of wins. And this was a step up for him and did not go well. He did not win a round, and it eventually was stopped by Jesus Ramos, who was the younger brother of Abel Ramos,
Oh,
actually. So he is pretty solid. His inside game is pretty top notch, and he does a lot with the body work as well. But uh, Jesus Ramos looks pretty darn good. So they have him number seven. Then, of course, Tony Harrison, Michael Soro, and Charles Conwell. Charles Conwell's definitely an interesting fighter.
oh yeah.
He's one of those guys who's a very seemingly naturally strong fighter, and he has some decent wins. Of course, it's just a matter of getting him in there with the top names. But he's made that ranking, of course, so he'll be an interesting fighter in the mix as well. So 154 still has some talent for sure. Of course, the
Yeah.
fight that we want to see, like I said, of course, is Jamel versus Tim Tszyu. That is the marquee fight of the division. But
Oh,
there's certainly other talent in or around there. And then again, we also hear about guys at 147 pounds who may ultimately make their way up to 154. I know it's been talked about with Errol Spence, apparently.
yeah.
We know Danny Garcia just recently went up there,
Oh yeah.
and he's a name that is a name for sure that could be in the mix, even though we'll have to see him against a legit 154 pounder because he took on David Benavidez's brother, Jose Benavidez, in his debut fight at 154. But of
Oh
course,
yeah.
Jose was making his debut at 154 as well. So these were both 147 pounders going up at the same time. So we'll have to see what goes on with Denny. But yeah, if Errol Spence goes there, definitely makes things interesting. Right now, of course, he's going to fight Terrence Crawford. That is the fight, but we'll see if that fight actually goes or see what happens there. And if he actually goes up, definitely will be an interesting mix. And Virgil Ortiz, you would assume, is going to go up there at some point. He is going to take on
Yeah.
Emmanuel Stanionis in what I think is another one of the best fights in boxing right there. You talk about two young, top-notch welterweights going at it to see who has that next status as far as who may inch themselves closer to a chance at some point at getting a title shot at 147 pounds. That is a very, very good fight. It doesn't have the same buzz and pizzazz name-wise as Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia, but certainly this is one of the best fights in boxing on paper, just given what we know of both fighters. So a lot of stuff to look forward to in 154, depending on how things shape out over the next couple of years.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get enough big names there. Now that some of them have maybe gone up. Yeah, Liam Smith anyways. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So also on this Showtime card, which was the Tim Tszyu Ocampo card in Australia, there's another Australian fighter who I saw for the first time. I had seen his name in or around the super bantamweight division, and basically that's Sam Gutman. He was taking on Regis Prograis, who I've seen on a number of occasions, and it was a pretty close fight between the two, back and forth fight. Started out with a lot of good stuff early from Prograis, then Sam Gutman seemed to continue to come forward, weathered the storm, and he was just one of those guys that kept throwing that left hook and made it a fight, and it ended up being a close fight to the very end. I think Sam Gutman pulled out that final round from what I saw as well, what I was able to catch. And the only round I missed was the first round, and apparently Gutman had a very solid first round, but then Aleem started to take over through the middle rounds, but Gutman got back into the mix, and it ended up being a split decision victory for Sam Gutman in what was his biggest test, and he is now a player there at super bantamweight. And I don't know if you caught this one, Boz, but it was certainly one of those that had a lot of back and forth between the two. I had respect for Regis Prograis. This turned out to be his toughest challenge right here. In with some decent guys. Certainly, like I said, this was his toughest challenge, but he was able to hang in there, certainly in enemy territory, because this was going down in Australia. He traveled there. This is his shot at, I believe a world title was on the line. As a matter of fact, let me double check. I believe it could be. Oh, no, I guess not. I guess this was a shot at getting a bit towards a world title. But certainly that could come down the line for both. So Gutman was 14-0. Aleem was 20-0 at the time. But it was a split decision loss with Regis Prograis coming up short. And Sam Gutman, hey, showing that he has a bit of wrinkle to his game, or at least toughness at the very least. And he keeps his head on straight. He can probably do some things. He's only 22, I believe, 22 or 23, somewhere in that range.
Oh, yeah. Wait just a second. There was another guy, but maybe that's his brother, called Aleem something, who I believe he was the one that knocked out Yevgen Kitrov.
I think you're talking about Emmanuel Aleem.
Yeah.
Emmanuel. I don't know if that might be his brother. That may very well be his brother. Not 100% sure. I need to double check on that for sure.
I think he's pretty much done, or maybe.
He had. I remember he had also been there with Hugo Centeno, and Hugo Centeno beat him.
Was knocked out, right?
Knocked him out, I believe. Hugo Centeno, as he was on a trajectory. Hey, those Aleems, there's some of them out there that are pretty solid. But yeah, this was a close one. And in his previous fight, Sam Gutman, so he would have been, this is what brought him to 14-0. So in his 14th fight, he took on TJ Doheny. Now, TJ Doheny, of course, more on the backside of his career, by comparison. But that being said, TJ Doheny, Irish fighter, solid name. And Sam Gutman was able to defeat him in his last contest, won a 10-round decision. So these are two pretty solid names for him there. And hey, you can only think that the sky is up from here. So he's actually 24 years of age. So 24. So hey, he's coming into his prime. I'd imagine he's going to be pushing towards that. So we'll see what Sam Gutman can do there at Super Bantam. Maybe we'll see him with even more of the top guys here as we move forward. I mean, only place to go is up from now, or from here at the very least. Carline Boxing Toss says, My guy Junto Nakatani, now 2-weight world champion. That kid can fight. Without a doubt, he can right there, hard line. Without a doubt. I mean, one of the
He
most
can
exciting
punch.
boxers in the sport right now. I just like the fluidity of the way he throws his punches. He just uses his size right, and he just puts that right leverage and that right kind of just trajectory with how he throws his punches just to land with full effectiveness. So you're 100% correct. Junto Nakatani, if you haven't seen him, folks, definitely check him out. There's another Nakatani out there, not to be confused with the Nakatani that took on Teofimo Lopez and Vasily Lomachenko at 135 pounds. Junto Nakatani, this is a must-see fighter right here out of Japan, and he is definitely worth the hype. And he's been able to show on big stages now that hey, he's the man. So the stages should only get bigger from here. Mad respect for Junto Nakatani.
Yeah.
Good call there. Good call
Oh
there,
yeah.
Bob or Hardline.
Oh yeah. That knockout of Maloney was really
Oh yeah,
wow, devastating.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's his most recent knockout of was it Andrew or Jason? One of the Maloney brothers.
Andrew, maybe, and the fact that it came like in round 9, I think, right?
Mhm.
It's even more impressive because not everybody is able to do that so late in the fight. I mean, they get a little bit more tired, and yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I still need to watch that full fight. I've seen some highlights because when I was watching the card, I came in a little bit too late. But that being said, yeah, that
right.
was a nice knockout right there. Super nice
Wow.
knockout. Junto Nakatani. If you don't know him, folks, check him out. Hey, we're telling you about some guys that you probably won't get to hear them mentioned as much in the same way you hear some of the bigger names mentioned in a repeated fashion over and over. Like blah blah blah. It gets draining. With that being said, there are a lot of good boxers out there, especially those guys in the lower divisions that quite always get to shine. Junto Nakatani is one of those, so certainly check him out without a doubt. Heartline
Mm.
Boxing Talk says, "Boz, love the channel pick. I'm a huge lifelong Star Wars fan."
Yeah, thanks. I also like that character. I mean, one guy told me, I don't like Kylo Ren, so could you change your name? I was like, no way, man. I kind of almost relate to him, even to that character.
Good stuff
Yeah,
right there. Yeah, I don't know a ton about Star Wars. I've seen the first two movies. Um,
yeah, the new
the old
ones,
ones.
yeah.
No, the
Mm.
old ones. I saw the
Oh, the
old
old
ones.
ones, yeah, those are the best, of course,
I
the
haven't
best ones.
seen any of the new ones, but I have seen The Mandalorian season one, when I thought that was a very good
Oh,
series
yeah.
right there. I enjoyed it.
Well, I thought the season 2 was better. Season 1 was kind of slow, but anyway,
Okay,
yeah,
season two was good. So yeah, still need to check
yeah.
it out. Need to
I've
check it
seen
out.
season 3 has also been already. I think that they are making season 4 still, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and good stuff. So season three is right there now. I need to
Or
get back.
maybe just a second. Maybe season 3 isn't over yet, but I thought it was.
Okay, okay, cool, good stuff. Shout out to Star Wars, the series that legendarily
Baby,
continues to go on.
baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda, yeah, yeah, that was the character of the year when that
Yeah.
series was introduced right there.
Everybody was like, "I want a baby Yoda. He's so cute," but
Yeah,
his
yeah,
name
yeah.
is not. He's not Yoda. It's just of the same race, as I found out later, because
Mm,
his name is actually Grogu, not Yoda.
Grogu. Okay,
Yeah,
okay. So Yoda is what he is.
yeah, I Yoda.
I am a Yoda.
Yeah,
Cool, cool. Uh, Hardline boxing talks. I want Nakatani versus Ioka. Yeah, another good fighter right there. Or Ioka. Can't think of his name. What is? I can't think of his first name.
Kazuto,
Yeah,
something. Yeah,
Kazuto Ioka. So yeah, he's a vicious
Ioka.
puncher and has great technique. Yeah, that would be a big time fight right there. We need to get it. The battle of two
Yeah,
Japanese fighters right there, and we need it
samurai.
on every network available. Of course, time
Sam,
would be pretty interesting. Of course, if it happens.
samurai battle.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so
Machine.
timing is always interesting when I know we all, I guess, deal with it from a country perspective, but yeah, when the big fights happen in Japan, it's usually very early in the morning. I know
Mm.
here we're
Yeah,
in
that's the
the
thing.
U.S.
That big time difference spoils everything. Even though maybe for me it's all right because yeah, I think when they show those fights, it's like midday here. When
Yeah.
it's late evening in Japan, so it's just right for me.
Oh, okay, yeah, it works out. Yeah,
Yeah.
that works out. So yeah,
Mm.
good stuff. Hey, gotta have a little give and take here and there. It all
Yeah.
can't be on the same sequence, but hopefully, yeah, and I'd imagine a big network would want to pick that fight up if it happens for sure.
Yeah.
So Rodolfo says,
It's
"Oh
like
yeah, Martin, we gotta
it's
watch the
like
movie '86."
I believe 1 or 2 in the afternoon when they show those fights when they have those main cards in Japan. Like,
Oh
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
10 hours or something difference.
I
Yeah, I
spent
think.
a little time over there. I should have went. I should have watched. I wish I would have watched boxing while I was over there. Like actually gone. But I was on in Okinawa, Japan. But
Oh yeah,
I
it's
should have
not
taken
really.
advantage of
It's
being
more.
over there. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
more a karate place. Okinawa is where it comes from the
yeah,
karate.
yeah, yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah, mainland, wouldn't have been anything to go there. I should have taken
karate
advantage while I
kid.
was there. I wasn't thinking, I hadn't been anywhere, so I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking more of the party side of things. So
Yeah,
I wasn't checking out any stuff. But this was at the time like the MMA Pride was out there. They were at their
all
peak and
right.
all that stuff. So it would have been cool to see some of that in hindsight. But hey, it
Pride.
is what
Yeah,
it is.
Pride is where Mirko Crow Cup used to fight the
Oh yes,
Croatian,
Mirko Krokop.
the Croatian sensation.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Did
Big
you
time
see?
fighter.
Did you see that one time when he punked that reporter Mauro Ranallo? He
Oh yeah.
he was having an interview with Crow Cup, and Crow Cup at the end everything went all right, but and yet he said, I didn't like what you said when you were commentating my fight. He was like, no, I didn't do that fight. I didn't commentate. And he was like, no, but you did, yeah, yeah. So he got really scared. Mauro was like, oh. He shit his pants.
Oh yeah,
It's,
Krokop legit. Krokop was
yeah,
legit
check
fighter
that
right
out.
there.
Yeah, like a strong guy. Who really, I mean, he
He was
was a
like a
killer.
part of some special police force or
Yeah, in Croatia, he was in the anti-terrorist squad actually.
okay, anti-terrorist squad. So yeah,
Yeah.
legit dude right there.
Oh yeah, as real as it gets.
uh, Hardline
Yeah,
Boxing Talk says I've met those that don't like him, but I love the Kylo great character.
yeah. It's
I love
because he was played by a really good actor, Adam Driver. I really like him.
Oh, Adam Driver. Yeah, I know Adam Driver.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Hardline says Prograis came through. His fight. Don't think the Haney fight could be made. Hey, oh yeah, another good fight. Hey, since you brought it up there, Hardline. Yes, there was another one that went down, Boz. I know you weren't able to catch that one, but it was going
Yeah.
down in New Orleans. And this was his first time fighting in New Orleans in 5 years. I just so
Wow.
happened to be there the last time he fought. I think it was
Ooh.
against William Silva. Uh,
Mm.
I just so happened to be in New Orleans at the time. I was
Mm.
able to go there. I got a media credential. I was able to check him out there live, and it was cool to see. Rougarou. This was the first big time fight in New Orleans in a long time. Teofimo Lopez was on that card as well.
Yeah, right.
It was a good time. So he was back in the mix here, back in New Orleans. It was at the Smoothie King Center, which is about a Superdome. I'm guessing this is the basketball spot where
Superdome.
the Pelicans play.
I thought the Superdome was in. Oh yeah, maybe there's
Oh
also
well,
in the
Mercedes-Benz
Houston.
Dome.
Yeah.
It's made. It used to be called the New Orleans, I believe, Superdome, but now it's the Mercedes-Benz Dome.
All right.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I know from those fights that there was also one in Houston that was called Superdome. Where Sugar Ray Leonard fought a few big fights also.
Oh yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
certainly. Yeah, he did. And so Regis was back there to Atlanta. They had some of the locals. Some of them I had seen. At least one of them I know I had seen when they were there the last time. Jeremy Hill, he got a knockout. Excuse me. That being said, he Regis Prograis against Zorrilla. What's Zorilla's first name? I need to figure out what his first name is.
Danielito or something.
Oh, Danielito Zorrilla.
Yeah.
So this ended up being a fight where really wasn't wasn't quite the homecoming Prograis thought it would be. Now, got to give props to Zorrilla. He was able to figure out how to maintain distance. He did a great job of that, but he fought very defensive. And Regis Prograis, he had some moments, especially early, but he found himself pretty much just chasing Zorrilla the entire night. And Zorrilla, when he was throwing shots, he was pretty sharp, and he seemed to have just that right type of pop to his punches where he could affect Prograis in a certain way. I believe it was the first round where he caught Prograis coming in with a quick, I believe, right hand, and it could have been a knockdown, but he caught the right hand and he kind of rushed in himself, and the two tumbled to the ground, but Prograis was going down and grabbed him. And the referee, Ray Corona is the referee, if I'm not mistaken. But he ended up ruling it not a knockdown. And then around, I think it was the second or third round, Regis Prograis actually knocked down Zorrilla. He caught him with a shot as he was trying to step out, and he didn't even catch him cleanly, and he was able to drop him. And then from there, of course, that was it as far as any sustained action, because Zorrilla, he fought on the back foot the entire time, except for the last 10 seconds, he was willing to engage a little bit, but don't really get much out of 10 seconds. So it was a frustrating night for Prograis, and a lot of people had the cards very close. Some had Zorrilla winning. I mentioned I had Prograis up by a round in terms of the final fight. I had a tie coming into the final round. Now, it wasn't like this was some thorough beating that Zorrilla was giving him or anything. These rounds were razor thin. They were just very close and razor thin, I guess you can say, in some cases, because of the fact that there weren't a ton of punches thrown from Zorrilla, and he was just able to maintain distance very well. He fought a defensive fight, so he stayed on the outside, and he was able to do that the entire time. So in the latter, probably 3-4 rounds, Regis caught up with him a little bit more than he had previously been catching him. So that's probably what won him the fight, even though two of the judges' scorecards were pretty lopsided in the sense that I think it was 116, 112, and 119, 120 or something, or 119, 110 or whatever, something of that nature, or 118 maybe. I know that the two judges in favor of Prograis, they were very wide, and it probably shouldn't have been that wide, and some people were mentioning that. I did have Prograis up by a round, and that's ended up being how I saw the fight, him winning by a round. But overall, not a very exciting a fight in that sense as far as exchanges. It was compelling, looking at it from a tactical standpoint, because you kept wondering, okay, Regis is getting closer. Is he going to be able to catch up with this guy? And Zorrilla, he would throw out a straight, which he had a little bit of success with, to keep things at a distance, and that was pretty much the story of the fight. So not one of those that you're probably going to want to watch again from a replay perspective. If I were telling someone, hey, yeah, they fought last night, I think you could settle for watching the highlights, one of those type fights. The Zone, they usually put out a pretty solid highlights. We were able to get some highlights out of that fight, not a ton. The majority of them in the first portion of the fight. So just one of those, not a lot of high replay value, but hey, one of those that you got to fight through. And Regis was honest in it, in his post-fight assessment, and having trouble with being able to catch up with him. He even thought that, hey, in seeing the replay, that first shot where he got dropped and tangled up in the first round could have been a knockdown. He even acknowledged such himself. But that being said, it's just one of those fights that that happened, and now we move on to bigger, better things. Don't want to see a rematch. We'll see it. As Hardline mentioned, Prograis came through. Do you think that Haney fight could be made? Or yeah, do you think that Haney fight could be made? So hey, that's the fight that I think will be a nice one to generate some buzz for Regis Prograis and Devin Haney both. If this is the fight that Devin Haney makes, if he moves up to 140, which seems like it's going to happen, definitely going to happen sooner than later, because as we could already tell, he's pretty big at 135 pounds, and you just have to think that it's going to be a relief for him, that extra 5 pounds that he'll be able to get at 140. And it was pretty much inevitable, thinking about it from a few years back when 135 started to get this influx of talent, that a lot of these guys were going to end up at 140. And now with Teofimo going up there to 140, he was able to pick up the title in his victory over Josh Taylor last week, or the week before. I think it was last week. And that just adds to the mix there. So I'd imagine Devin Haney, that's something he has to really think about. Does he want to go down to 130 or stay at 135 where he is undisputed right now, or move to 140? I think 140 makes sense. At 135, I mean, they're really only a couple of fights. If those fights can get made, whether that's him and Tank Davis, then yes, that's where they'll stand at 135. Assuming, and I would not want it to have any type of hydration clause of that nature. So if they're playing that game, then I don't think that's cool. But that being said, if that fight can't be made, or we can't get Shakur Stevenson, which I know is a very high risk as far as that fight, as far as high risk, low reward, I guess you can say, since Shakur, he's only fought once at 135. And I think he will be the man of the division there at 135. So Haney moving up to 140 seems logical. I'd like to see Haney versus Prograis, or Haney versus, depending on what Teofimo Lopez is doing, Haney versus Teofimo Lopez. That's a fight we wanted to see there for a good trade as well. Or Haney versus Jose Ramirez, whomever. But certainly Haney versus Regis Prograis, and the two were FaceTiming last night, talking back and forth and all that. So maybe that is one that is easier to make. And Bill Haney was apparently there in attendance at Regis's fight. So maybe that's the fight we can get right there.
Yeah, I just don't hope that the Regis isn't one of those fighters when not everything goes the way he planned, that he doesn't perform so well, because I guess maybe Zorrilla was just stylistically wrong for him, but I was very disappointed how he fought against Josh Taylor. I really expected much more. And but yeah, I mean, most of the fight he kind of just didn't produce much, in that fight. As far as I remember it, anyway, he did clearly lose that fight, and that's not what people were expecting. They were expecting a really big fight, a big war. So
yeah, certainly, yeah. This is a real fight. Yeah, this is a very interesting one right there, and I think, of course, Regis is going to look different being in there with a different type of fighter with a different mentality. Certainly, I think the mentality of Zorrilla in this fight, which was the right mentality for him to stir up things in this way and make it to where he could be considered the victor. That was the right fight for him right there. Not a lot of action, but I think Regis, he's been in there with some very interesting styles, and I think that he's shown that he could, beat guys of varying in height, size, in some very different styles. Just thinking about some of the guys he's been in there with. Just thinking about that overall at 140, from Julius Ndongo, he was able to take him out fairly quickly and easy. The Josh Taylor fight, I thought it was a close fight, but I did think that Josh Taylor won that fight. And for my money, up until last week, I thought Josh Taylor was still the man of the division, but he did not look good. And I don't know if that's a trend, considering that Catterall fight was close, but he was able to pull it off. But I don't know if this Josh Taylor not looking good is a trend. And we've already talked about how I think he's in a pretty interesting place between a rock and a hard place in terms of staying at
Yeah,
140 if he's struggling to make the weight, and then going up to 147 where it's going to be tougher, bigger punchers, and getting to the title. There's really only one way, and it's going to have to go through whatever trajectory gets him in there with the winner of Errol Spence and Bud Crawford. But we know that he's going to have to at least go through the likes of a Jerron Ennis or a
yeah.
Virgil Ortiz winner to do so, and that would be tough sledding for him right there. I just think in moving up in weight, so he could find himself there at 147, taking a few fights
Yeah.
before if he gets to a chance at a title shot there.
Yeah, of course, it's gonna be tough for him at 147, but I think he should not stay at 140 anymore. It's very obvious since the Catterall fight. He's been struggling to make that weight, and
Yeah,
that's another fight he shouldn't have taken actually. But anyway, there you go. It can't be changed back. But
yeah,
yeah, 147, he should at least try and sell it, and then see how it goes. Especially like someone like Jaron Ennis, for instance, he can fight somebody like him, or
yeah,
those other guys you mentioned, Ortiz, Tanyonis, winner. I don't know. Yeah, so
yeah,
those would be pretty realistic fights for him right now. And
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
if
Tough
that goes well, then of course take it a notch up and fights
fight.
the winner of Spence Crawford. Yeah,
Yeah.
or if Spence should win and stay at 147, and if Crawford
Yeah,
wins, that's, of course,
supposedly he's going to 154. Supposedly,
154. Yeah, yeah,
but yeah, I just I don't think Taylor's gonna get an immediate shot without beating someone.
yeah.
And
No, I don't think so. I don't think he will. I mean, he was the undisputed champion, but it seems not to be enough today. Always, anyway. you
yeah, yeah.
know,
But yeah, very interesting one for sure.
yeah,
Heartline Boxing Talk says Lopez has vacated his belt. I'm not impressed. Yeah, very interesting situation going on there with Teofimo Lopez. Said he's retired.
okay,
Seemingly, it's about money. I guess he was complaining that he got paid $1 million or somewhere in that range for this fight, and he feels it should have been more. And hey, you have the right to certainly feel that. Feel your worth and all of that stuff. But certainly, it does throw a
mm,
wrench in things with him saying he's retired and vacating the belt. I guess that adds some kind of validity to it. But of course, this is a similar situation we've seen with a number of boxers, especially those that retire in their prime. Seldom do they stay retired, and usually the retirements are less than a year. As a matter of fact, from what I recall, at least just thinking about some of the more high profile guys. Now, I know Regis even spoke on it and said that, he should have gotten paid more for that fight or his last fight with Josh Taylor. But that being said, Teofimo Lopez, he's in the contract that he's in, and we know
yeah,
what
yeah.
happened after he beat Vasily Lomachenko. He tested the waters himself, and it seemed to be like a low point of his career. So, very
After
interesting.
he, I would say, beat like
Oh
this.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I didn't think he won, but anyway, that was the official result. Anyway, I know you
Yes, I
also
did.
kind of, you didn't think that either.
Yeah. So after that Lomachenko fight, Teofimo Lopez had jumped
His ego
around. He tried to get
was
out of the contract, right?
his
And
ego was out of control
And I
completely
think it's
after.
a similar thing. I think it's a similar thing here, but he had did that little thing with Triller, and then the fight kept getting postponed, delayed, things kept coming up, and then next thing you know, it just turned out to
Yeah,
be a crazy situation.
I think he just bought too much into his own hype, and that's of course dangerous always, and that's why he lost to to Cambosos, who nobody would have expected him to, lose against because he was like, huh, no way, this guy can't do anything, to me. So I'm going. That was his mentality. Obviously, his let's say yeah, like
Yeah,
attitude before the fight. So that's
yeah,
why he did lose.
yeah,
Didn't take it seriously. So
yeah, yeah. So we'll have to see what goes down with him. I think he's gonna come back, of course. So that puts a belt. I think that was the WBO belt that Taylor had remaining that Teofimo
yeah,
won. So I
that
think
would
that
be
puts
all.
it out there on the street
Was
or
there
whatever.
one more? Maybe I'm not sure. Maybe not.
The lineal title.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
well,
Lino.
well, lineal in the ring. I think he had the ring, picked up the ring title. That was online in that fight.
The
Uh,
lineal title is actually isn't is it actually the one that is presented by Cyber Boxing Zone? Is that true or am I wrong? I
no, I
think
don't
so.
think it's presented by anyone. Well, I think
Or
they might track it, but
yeah,
it's intended to be that one that dates back to the full lineage. It's supposed to be the man versus the man. It's not
mm,
a, it's not physical in any
the
sense, but
man who
certainly.
beat the man.
But yeah, I think Cyberboxing Zone and the other sites that
Yeah,
are track history
that's
and all that stuff will recognize.
yeah. Because that was the impression that I got, and that was strange because I was like, how can a site like give out
Yeah, yeah.
a title, a belt? You know, what's this about? I
No,
know
but
they
I'm sure
are,
they'll update it. I'm sure they'll recognize it
yeah.
as the lineal in that sense, thinking about the one going to
Because,
the past. And then you'll have these other little accounts, like I know there's a Twitter lineal account or whatever. I'm sure they'll recognize it and all that stuff as well.
yeah, because I remember one I read about them not recognizing this guy. I don't remember who it was as the champion, but they did recognize that guy Erdei from Hungary, Zsolt Erdei. You know, he was the WBO light heavyweight champion.
And who was
Back
that
then.
again?
Hmm?
What's his
It
name?
was cyberboxing. Zsolt Erdei,
Oh,
his
they.
last name. You know,
Oh,
he was a slick guy, a boxer, not a puncher, really.
hmm.
Yeah. So he
Interesting.
was. Yeah, he fought a lot in Germany. That's why probably you don't know him. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I think certain things go into it. That's why sometimes it can remain vacant even if you have like a ring champion or something like that.
Yeah.
Uh in the ring, they're in a similar capacity to the lineal championship. They don't just put it online for everyone, you know what I'm saying?
And
There has
you
to be certain
remember
stipulations.
I miss those Golden Palace statues. You remember
Oh
those
yeah.
fighters had on their backs? That was fun.
Funny thing is, I think it was like a year. It might have been a year. It might have been 2 years ago at this point. I was reaching out trying to find the originators of that goldenpalace.com. So I reached out
Yeah,
to this site. They never did hit me back. They've changed it now, but the banner that this used to be under, I was trying to figure out what happened, but I do remember those. Goldenpalace.com used to be
yeah,
on these fighters' back or whatever.
yeah. Huge tattoo. I don't know. I guess it wasn't really a tattoo. It was
Yeah, it's
probably
one of those little
something.
temporary type
Yeah,
tattoo type
something
things.
they just how to say pasted on. You know.
Yeah. Golden Palace. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is funny. I know there's an article out there on them, but I wanted to try and get an interview with somebody from that crew.
Sounds
But of
like a
course, yeah, I
sounds
couldn't do
like a Chinese takeaway or restaurant
it.
to me. Golden Palace.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Golden Palace. Yeah, yeah,
Or
right. But
maybe even Indian.
yeah, yeah, right. But yeah, it's been a minute. But yeah, that certainly the early 2000s you would see them all the time on the little
Yeah,
thing. But they're like one of those. I was able to dig to some company that used to be maybe like a parent holding company or whatever, one of those little online gambling type sites or whatever. You see a
yeah,
lot of those these days anyway, but yeah, one of
mm,
those interesting online casino type things. But the
yeah,
buzz isn't quite there, or at least Golden Palace is no longer.
yeah.
Um,
Their hard one, he knows Erde. He was really good boxer. I mean, he only lost once, but that
Zolt
was
Air Day, yeah, I don't know Air Day. Air
he
Day.
lost once at the end of his career, but that was a bad decision to Denis Grachev. Yeah, so
Hmm. And so he wasn't recognized. They didn't. Okay, I see
yeah,
him here.
he beat some
Oh,
good. I
so
mean, Yeah, some good fighters. He did beat.
Okay, so he last fought in 2014. Started. Oh, okay, debuted in 2000. Yeah, I didn't catch him.
Jolt. It's the ZS is a J in Hungarian.
Oh, he
Jolt.
lost to Denis Grachev. Denis
Yeah, gotcha.
Grachev. Grachev started out looking pretty hot, and then he was very, very up and
Edwin.
down at the tail end of
Edwin Rodriguez. I remember destroyed him in one round. I believe it was. Yeah.
yeah.
That guy also never quite took off as it's seen that he would. Edwin
Oh
Rodriguez.
yeah, Edwin. And yeah, and then I remember him going up to cruiserweight, but he wasn't
Yeah.
really in shape. So it's kind
No,
of just
no.
like sort
He
of
used
like
to be.
freaking what's his name? That reminds me Michael Hunter going up to heavyweight is like he didn't go
Oh.
about it. It seems like he just did it to kind of not cut weight, you know.
Right. What was I going to say? Yeah. Yeah, I know that Rodriguez fought at 168 at first, then he went to 175.
Yeah. So I guess his biggest fight was that one with Ward, you know, where they
Oh,
used
yeah.
Jack Reese.
Yeah.
Jack Reese took a shot in the midst of the contest, but yeah, funny stuff.
Yeah,
But
he was one of the few Dominican fighters that were really looking good at that time.
yeah, he had some solid looking moments. Seemed to be
Yeah,
a pretty
because the other
rounded
guy, yeah,
skill.
Fernando Guerrero, he turned out to be a
Yeah, he had the
disappointment.
look there for a minute. He definitely
Yeah.
looked like he was gonna be a guy. And
Mm.
yeah, it didn't turn out. Didn't turn out to work out for
He
Fernando.
had the skills, I guess, but not the chin or all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that let him down for sure. But he had the
Yeah,
look for a moment there. He was gonna be all right. And Michael
yeah.
Hunter that reminds me. So he's on. He's been fighting on this team combat
Michael
league.
Hunter.
You know what I'm
Wow.
talking about? That thing I was
Oh,
telling you about. This like tournament style,
so right.
like
So he's
18
not.
rounds.
So he's not like a regular boxer anymore.
Well, I'm guessing he's waiting on a fight. I don't know what it is, but he fought on that. You know, Jerry
No.
Forrest actually fought on it too last time. So him and Michael Hunter were going at it. You know, and I think they fought before, or
Not
yeah,
bad.
they fought before. So it was for one round, of course, in this team combat league. But this was like I believe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was watching it, but Forrest. Yeah, he didn't look like he
Yeah.
was in condition, so they might have just because he lives in Maryland, and so he
Oh.
was on the DC team,
Mm.
and they're like, hey, pulled him out of the basement or whatever. I guess he had some kind of injury. You know, he had fought the Jared Anderson, and Jared Anderson stopped him, but I don't know if he was
Yeah,
training
of
because of an
course.
injury or something after that. But we got Forrest versus Hunter for one rounder. Michael Hunter won it, but Forrest he looked like he wasn't in shape, so I think he was just kind of
Mm.
coming out of
Let me
the
ask you.
couch.
Let me ask you: is Washington actually a part of Maryland, or is it a state for itself? That's not completely
Yeah. It's no, yeah,
clear.
it's its own thing. Washington D.C. It's this little small, it's almost like a little rectangle in terms of when you look at it on the map, but it's right there, wedged in between Maryland. Maryland is a weird state, a weird shaped state, so it's in between
Right,
Maryland and Virginia, and that's why they
Virginia.
call it the DMV kind of all at once. Because like I live in D.C., but
Oh,
I can take a
right.
drive down here. It go probably a mile, 2 mile, not even a 2 miles, maybe a mile, if that, and I'll be in Maryland. You know, that's the
So
part of DC that I'm in. But
yeah,
it's a similar thing. I can go to Virginia, so oftentimes you find yourself going to Maryland and Virginia for varying things. I
right,
work in DC, so I don't do that anymore. But you have a lot of people who work in DC who live in Maryland and Virginia. They're kind of
right.
just close right there. It's like DC is wedged in the middle of that, so you can get there in no time.
So
Yeah,
Baltimore is then the biggest city in Maryland,
yeah,
or is it?
and
Yeah.
that's probably about 45 minutes from DC, depending on the traffic. You know,
Hmm.
traffic can play a role, but if there is smooth sailing all the way up on 95, then yeah, you can get there in like 40 minutes, 45 minutes,
Oh,
somewhere around there.
yeah.
So yeah, that
Nice.
is the biggest city in Maryland. Um, and we have that's where Gervonta Davis, the big boxer out of that area, is.
Oh
So,
yeah.
like here for DC, I officiate with USA Boxing. I'm with Potomac Valley Association, which handles uh, parts of Maryland and then parts of DC, or no, all of DC. Then Prince George's County in Maryland, which is a big county. I think it's the biggest county in Maryland, and so we have fights. So it's usually boxers from Maryland and all that stuff. But for instance, Baltimore, they're in a different group. It's called South Atlantic, and it's a little.
Yeah.
They handle the Baltimore County, all that stuff, and basically, they come to like the shows in DC all the time. Like the go-to spot for the amateur boxing shows here is called Rosecroft Raceway. It's in I guess Fort Washington, Maryland. It could be considered Oxon Hill, Maryland. But I guess it's listed as Fort Washington. But it's near the MGM Grand that they built like 5 or 6 years ago. That's out here where we've had some big fights at. So
because I used to go to this Philadelphia boxing history site, and they also kind of counted. I mean, there was info on each fighter, right? And it says how many times he had fought in Philadelphia, but it also said how many times if he had fought in Atlantic City. So they were kind of connected in a way. I guess.
Yeah. They're not far. They're not far
Yeah.
off. Yeah, from DC, for instance, Atlantic City, it's about a little under 3 hours, somewhere around there, a little under 3 hours. I've gone up there for some fights. I like to watch Dimitri Bivol, Sergey Kovalev. Sergey Kovalev when he fought Eleider Alvarez, I saw it in Atlantic City.
First time or
the
second?
First time because Alvarez won, right?
He got knocked out.
The first one.
Yeah.
So it was in Atlantic City. It was pretty cool. I haven't been there in a while because since, of course, 2019, then the pandemic came. That kind of threw so much stuff off that a lot of there hasn't been any big time show here in DC. Well, the Gervonta Davis was the first one. That was at the Verizon or Capital One Center. But they used to have more at the MGM Grand. I don't know why there aren't more there that happened there because it's a nice spot. They have a theater in there. And they have some stuff at Maryland Live, and they'll have some local shows. So there are still local shows that go on, and I'll go to those, like at the Rosecroft Raceway, local pro shows, and then other areas. But in terms of those, so Gervonta Davis versus Hector Garcia, of course, that was a big one. So that was at the Capital One Center. I think the first time a big boxing fight was there in a while.
Did you hear? Sorry, did you hear that while he was like away in prison or something, his house got robbed or mugged?
I did see. I didn't see all the particulars of it, but I guess his home in Miami or Florida, wherever he stays in Florida.
Probably
burglarized. I don't know all the particulars in terms of what was taken and all that stuff, but pretty crazy.
Wow.
That's why you got to try to stay out of trouble.
Of course.
Situation because they know that he's, of course, locked up in jail in.
Like free for all,
So it's crazy how that happens. Unfortunate, but man, craziness for sure. Interesting stuff. Rodolfo Rivera Jr. says, "How come in 08 fights always be on a weekday? His upcoming fight is going to be on a Tuesday." Yeah, I remember that being the case before. Yeah, that always makes it very interesting.
In Japan, they have different, traditions when it comes. I mean, they also fight on New Year's Eve. Nobody else would do that.
Certainly, they do have their own tradition. Hardline Boxing Talk, Okinawa cited one of the bloodiest battles of World War II. Oh, certainly. Certainly. I know in Japan, it's not there, but Iwo Jima.
Iwo Jima.
That's the famous Marine Corps.
I believe that's a little island just outside Okinawa,
So that's where the famous picture of the Marines putting up the flag, or at least holding to put it up.
Iwo Jima.
So you had some battles there.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't far off.
Yeah. That's also where Okinawa is where Karate Kid is like, was it wasn't really filmed there as far as I could understand,
Oh
but
yeah.
yeah, that's where
But
the action is set for the second one anyway. Yeah.
okay, the more recent one.
Yeah, they also I think filmed there for this show Cobra Kai now. Yeah,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. I haven't watched it, but I know what you're talking about. It's like a
yeah,
play on that one cat. Uh,
it's a pretty good
Cobra
one
Kai, I think
actually.
is his name.
Yeah,
Got some little comedic humor to it, huh?
yeah. I
A lot
think
of that.
Okinawa has kind of like more how do you say almost tropical climate than the rest of Japan because it's
Oh
south,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it is now. I actually have a family friend, cousin, I guess you can say, to a certain degree, who
Oh,
just
really?
recently went over there. She's been over there. She went over there, I think, at the beginning of this year. I was over there back in 2005, when I first went there, and left
Oh,
in
you were
I
very
left
young.
in 2007, somewhere
Hmm.
beginning
All
of
right.
2007. So I'm sure a lot has changed since then, but very interesting. But yeah, it was one of those situations. Of course, you
Yeah.
had typhoon season, but outside of
Oh,
that,
yeah.
it's pretty. It's pretty. The weather's always crazy. Has a little bit of elevation to it. I remember that
Yeah.
changed when you first go there, because I was in the Marine Corps. Of course, I've
Oh,
shared,
yeah. Of course.
and
Yeah.
we had to run and all that stuff. Man, I remember.
That's where the base is, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okinawa
yeah.
is
You had a
that.
lot of those. But
Yeah.
yeah, I remember one of the runs over there. Yeah, one of the first ones.
You
Um,
know the
it had
you
me
know
seeing spots. I was like,
yeah.
oh, I hope I don't fall out of here because that change.
The movie, I don't know if you remember I told you about I think earlier this year, I think, or maybe last year. That movie which was called Jensen Punch, that was based on a true story of
Jensen
a
punch.
yeah, that guy was from Okinawa, the boxer without one leg, who had a prosthetic leg. And his
Oh,
father was an American soldier, GI actually. So he was half Caucasian or white, whatever. Yeah, that
interesting.
guy. Mm.
But he lost his leg
Yeah,
in a
some kind.
military type situation.
No, it was in his childhood. He had some accident. Probably
Oh, okay.
car hit him. Yeah, probably
Oh,
running.
okay, okay, gotcha.
So
Yeah.
he was never allowed. He did train like with the others in Japan, but he was never allowed to get a professional license. So he
Oh,
tried.
he
He
tried
went.
to fight with one
Yeah, he
leg.
went to the Philippines because he heard he could fight. He could get a license there, but still didn't help. He did get a license, but still in Japan they would not give him.
Now, what was he trying to do? Box or
Yeah,
MMA? Oh,
box. Mm.
with a prosthetic on?
Yeah, yeah. So
You
that's
know,
why.
it seems like it's something that could potentially happen. But yeah, I guess they have some rules against it.
Yeah,
I mean, depending on the movement and all, but certainly interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting.
yeah, yeah. It's a really unique story. I mean, a true one also. So
Hey,
yeah,
some of these guys, they'll battle through some stuff for sure. And there's a
yeah.
amateur boxer up here. I think he's out of Virginia because one of the officials is his trainer. One of the officials that I work with, who's out of Virginia, and he has one eye, and he's very
Well,
good. He's very
well.
good.
Hmm.
He's a top notch boxer. He's been able to adapt and adjust. It's his
But
he's
he
I think he's orthodox. I believe so.
doesn't have any kind of prosthetic eye or anything.
No, it's just
Just one eye, right?
so he just has the I think he's orthodox and he has his left eye and his right eye is missing, but he's adapted and
Wow.
he's very good. He's very
But
good.
does he box professionally or I mean,
Well, he's amateur. You
all
can't
right.
be professional and amateur at the same time right now, but
Yeah, yeah,
certainly there are some, of course, pro-like amateur, semi-pro-ish looking amateur events that take place. But that
mm,
being said, yeah, so he's an amateur. He has a lot of fights.
Yeah, this guy was also an amateur, so they did allow that, I guess, in the amateurs because it was 3 rounds, So, but
Okay, so
in
yeah.
the pros,
Oh, so
in
he
the
was trying to do a
pros,
pro thing. Okay.
yeah, they didn't let him. Of course, there you have 10, 12 rounds of. It's a different ball game. And so that's a good movie. I mean, he brought his trainer from Philippines, who trained him
Mm.
there, to Japan. And when he heard that they weren't gonna let him box, after all, he got so angry. He was like, "But come on, he can fight really well." Started screaming.
Yeah, you
Such
had to send me that name or drop it in the chat. Jensen Sports or whatever,
punch.
or Punch. So cool, cool.
Yeah.
Definitely worth it checking it out. Hardline Boxing Talk says Iwo Jima, yeah, and Terrible Tarawa. Hey, yeah, Hardline. Yeah, I forgot Hardline. Yeah, the major military history guy or something of that nature. What is it, Hardline, or at least some of the battles and being. I know. I remember one time, Hardline, you were talking to creating the channel, talking about these different types of naval ships or whatever it may be
Oh
that fall
yeah,
into that category.
we got a huge American military ship here. Like last month, it came to the Oslo fjord.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it stayed there a couple of days. Not sure how long, but
Oh,
now
cool,
it's gone.
cool. That's
Everybody was like, "Oh no, what's going on now?"
hey, we're just getting prepped. We don't want any craziness from one of
Yeah,
your neighbors.
yeah, I know. Think I know who you mean. The northern neighbor. Yeah,
hmm Yeah, just trying to make sure all is steady and all is well.
yeah, yeah. That stuff can be scary, of course.
Yeah, yeah, especially when it actually happens, you think like, oh yeah, maybe not
Yeah,
right now, not here in 2022 or anything of that nature,
three.
and then
Yeah,
20, yeah, just think about that time, but yeah, 2023 for of course
yeah.
right
When
here
it's
present day,
yeah,
of course,
of
but
course, when
yeah,
it first
still yeah,
happened.
same thing, yeah, but yeah, you think, but yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I was
stranger
like,
things have happened as they say.
yeah, when it started, I was like, everybody was saying now it's gonna be a war in Ukraine. I was like, nah, no way, come on, man. They're not crazy. But it turns out, yeah, they are crazy, crazy,
Yeah, who would have
unfortunately.
thought? Who would have freaking
Yeah,
thought? Of course. Yeah. Salute to Vitaly Klitschko holding it down over there in Kiev, holding it
yes,
down. Former world heavyweight champion.
he's a great moral support for his people, just like Alexander Usyk and Vasily Lomachenko and Alexander Gvozdyk and all those
Oh
guys.
yeah, 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 yeah. That's big time. Yeah, a lot. To
Yeah,
try and fight and then deal with that stuff back home.
yeah.
So kudos to him. Kudos to him.
And I hope that Alexander Gvozdyk can come back and again,
Oh yeah,
reestablish himself. I
yeah.
really do.
Sometimes the time away can at least help to sustain or at least help to add maybe more shelf life
Yeah,
to your physical career in a sport, so maybe that's what it is in this situation. So hopefully, that can be the
yeah.
case for him.
Because we need to have the Ukrainian trio, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I told you, hey, I saw him in DC and it was at the MGM Grand. We had a trio, but a treat of a contest, but this was in
Oh,
2017. Had
right.
Vasily Lomachenko against Jason Sosa. That was the main event. This was here
Oh,
in Maryland. And
that's
then
what.
the co-main was Gvozdyk, or
Yeah.
it was either I can't remember who Gvozdyk was taking on, and then it was a triple header, and then the other one was Alexander Usyk versus Michael Hunter. Very good fight right there.
Wow. Oh,
Very good
yeah.
fight.
That's what's
So this
right.
was a triple header with the three Ukrainians, and there was a large contingent of
Yeah.
Ukrainian fans that were there and attended. So it was a great time as well.
I think they're all promoted, well, pretty much promoted by the same guy. I know that actually Usyk
Oh
has
yeah,
that
Aegis
manager.
Clinic
Yeah,
or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. He is from
Yeah,
Lithuania. Yeah, he's big guy.
yeah. No, you're right. He does have a lot of them that he promotes.
Yeah, he also promotes that guy Rakimov. Yeah, Rakimov.
Okay, yeah, Rakimov. Yeah, Rakimov.
I, I was like, really, he made me angry when he later when he said that he should have gotten the nod over Cordina. I was like, no way, man. What
Yeah, I
which
didn't think so
fight were
either.
you watching?
Yeah, I
I
didn't
mean,
think so either. Hey,
Cordina.
some people felt that way, but I didn't think so either. I thought Cordina handled himself very well in that fight. Went through
He,
a
I
little bit of adversity and did battle through.
Yeah, I thought he just kind of really outclassed
Yeah,
Rakimo. Pretty much made a clinic. Yeah,
yeah. Hey, and good showing from Rakhimov. It just came up
yeah.
short in
He's a
my
tough
opinion.
guy, tough
Tough,
cookie,
tough indeed. But yeah, I thought Cordina handled that
and
well.
dangerous. Yeah, he's dangerous for anybody. But Corina has the defensive abilities, so he was able
And that was
to.
his first fight coming off that hand injury, right? Cordina.
Yeah,
So hey,
yeah.
I guess the hand is good, as they say.
I mean, the difference there you saw between Corina and Zelfa Barrett. Zelfa did well
Oh
against
yeah.
Rakimo first, but then when Rakimo started really pressuring him, he couldn't keep him off. Like he
Yeah,
couldn't.
that happened to Zelfa. That
Yeah,
happened with Chico Martinez too.
yeah.
He
That's
got caught. He's good when he's boxing and he's not as long as he doesn't get caught with anything big
yeah.
in any sequences or whatever.
Mm.
He's a tough fighter. He's a pretty solid fighter, but certainly yeah,
Kiko is
if you
strong.
trap
Oh
him,
man.
you trap him
Yeah.
and tee off on him, you can definitely mess him up.
When Kiko was fighting Jordan Gill, I was like, oh man, this is such a mismatch physically because Gill was falling so easily when Kiko
Oh yeah, I
hit
wonder
him.
if I'm thinking about Jordan Gill. Am I thinking about Jordan Gill?
Yeah.
Did he fight Zelfa Barrett? He didn't fight Zelfa Barrett, right?
No, no,
I'm
I
thinking
don't
about
think
Jordan Gill then. Okay,
Jordan
yeah,
Gill.
you're right. You're right.
Yeah, that was yeah, I was kind of rooting for Gill, but no, he was just not too weak physically to withstand.
So yeah, I'm
Uh,
thinking Jordan Gill, but Zelfa Barrett, he's pretty solid. I like
oh
Zelfa
yeah,
Barrett.
he's
But
got he's got long arms for that
yeah,
division
yeah,
also.
he does. But yeah, Jordan Gill is who I was thinking of. So same things apply. Yeah, he's pretty good when he's
Yeah,
able to
Jordan.
work from the outside, as long as he doesn't get caught with anything.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
somebody else knocked him out too.
No, but he had a really great, really good knockout, like a comeback.
Or yeah, not knocked him out, but they dropped him in a way that looked like he was out
Yeah.
of there, and he came back and
Who
won, right?
was it against? Let me see. I know it was in the ninth round. I believe that he
Azim or Z? It wasn't him, was it?
maybe that guy Murphy, maybe Karim was it him? I don't know. Let's see. Jordan Gill
Like
is
it might have been
27.
Dubai or something over there.
Yeah, it was Karim Murphy. Yeah, that was
Oh,
last
bare
year.
feet.
Yeah. Yeah, Gill was down first, in the seventh round, and then he came back and just hit him with a
Yeah,
perfect
that was
right,
a yeah, that
bang
was
on the chin.
yeah, he went
Yeah,
down. Yeah, that was tough. So yeah, Kiko knocked him out. So yeah, I was thinking about him.
yeah, 4 rounds.
Yeah, Kiko freaking Martinez.
Yeah, you can never quite write him off. I mean, I was like a few years ago, I was like, oh no, he's finished now. When he lost to
Hey, he
Warrington,
kept hanging
and
around. Kiko
yeah,
kept hanging around without a doubt.
force of nature.
Yeah, real quick, Josh Heartline Boxing Talk says I think a part of the issue of Josh Taylor keeps changing trainers. He's not focused and settled like when he was winning the Super Series and becoming undisputed. Yeah, that could definitely play into it there, Hardline, because yeah, he was on his
Awesome.
game there. He
Yeah,
was on
very
his
possible.
game. He was in that pound for pound contention, even in there on
Yeah.
some lists and all that stuff.
No, he's since last year he just hasn't been the same guy. I mean, or actually, well, yeah, that was last year, the Carroll fight, right? Yeah, I
Yeah,
think so. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah, because he was out 15 months. Is what they
yeah,
see that too. Rodolfo said, did he retire officially, though? Yeah, with Teofimo Lopez, we'll see. I guess you can say it, and he vacated the belt, makes it seem like he is. So, very
mm,
interesting for sure. Hardline, Josh Taylor's lineal, no other champion.
gosh,
Okay, good to go. Good to go. Indeed. Salute to Zone 6 Sports. Appreciate you dropping by here. Zone 6 Sports. Thanks for dropping by, buddy. Always great to have you. Certainly.
in the zone.
Jensen punch. Jensen punch, folks. Jensen punch.
Yes.
Hey, that's an interesting story right there that Boz was talking about. I'm gonna try to check that out myself here.
Yeah, I think it used to be available on Netflix, I believe, but not anybody. I think you can find it still somewhere. Anyway.
Oh yeah, yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, Rodolfo said, yeah, Iwo Jima was one of those island hopping sites that the U.S. had to do on their way to Japan. Indeed, Hardline Box Top says World War II, Alexander the Great, Rome, Hannibal, World War One, love it all. All right, good stuff there. Good stuff there, Hardline. I don't know if you created that channel or what, but definitely, hey, if you did, be one cool to check out. So certainly let us know if you do have that. But yeah, some of the great battles in history, great periods in history as far as some different reigns, I guess you can say, in power to a certain degree. Rodolfo says Iwo Jima is a beautiful island, and there's still some World War II tanks there that are full of rust over there. Oh yeah. I know it's one of those fights to visit or places to visit by some of the Marines I was with. Some of them had them. They had some like Iwo Jima sand and all those type of trinkets. It's like a little tourist spot now, for sure. But yeah, home of a critical battle for sure. Oh yeah, Rodolfo Rivera Jr. is known for the dark sand on the beach too. Yeah, cool. That's what it is. Because I know, I remember, yes, some Marine Corps guys who had been there. I never went there. But of course we weren't far from there. But some of the guys who had went there, they brought some little trinkets with some of the actual Iwo Jima sand. I guess.
Oh yeah, right. That's
like a souvenir type.
I have heard of that. Yeah, Sand of Iwo Jima, or yeah, that was kind of also the name of a movie, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, Hardline would love to go to some of these sites. Yeah, well, cool. Pretty cool stuff. Rodolfo says, yes, the largest naval battle of World War II. I was a huge fan in the World Wars when I was in middle school at BL. All right, good stuff, Rodolfo. Rodolfo, hey, you're in the mix. You're a history buff there, Rodolfo, a young history buff.
I believe the largest naval battle in World War One was held not that far from where I live. That was in Denmark, the Jutland Peninsula. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, Denmark. Yeah, thinking about that, crazy.
Yeah,
thinking about the times and then where some of these battles went down, and of course, looking at it now or just thinking about some of these places now, you just don't even fathom or envision. It's hard to envision like what it would have been like back then. That's pretty crazy, right?
Yeah.
Does great Rodolfo love that has been a passion of mine since I was 8. Didn't get enough. Good stuff there. Hard line, good stuff. Yeah, like I said, hey, the battle stuff is great as well. So yeah, hey, we're fans of it all. Appreciate all the good dialogue. Real quick, let's see real quick here. I know we've been running up on the time, Boz, and I'm sure you're probably like, okay, when is this thing gonna end? I want to say Giasov, the Uzbek fighter. He won a 12-round decision over Calderon. I can't think of Calderon's first name, but it was a fight on the undercard of this. This was a fight on the undercard of this Regis Prograis contest, and Giasov, he pretty much led the way. Calderon seemed like he was a very solid sized guy, and when he landed some of his straight punches, you could see that they were pretty effective, but he didn't throw nearly enough, and pretty much was in. He just fought a very cautious fight, barely throwing the entire night. I mean, some of that could have been because of Giasov's twitchy movement, but ultimately, 12 rounds. Unanimous.
Yeah. Now I know who you're talking about. Shakam Giasov.
Yeah, Shakam Giasov. Is it Giasov or I say Giasov?
Yeah, Giasov. Yeah.
Giasov. But yeah, he looked as good as he could look against a guy who didn't want to engage, not in the same way as, for instance, the guy that fought Zorrilla that fought Regis Prograis for Calderon. He just wasn't throwing. He seemed like he had solid form. This is his first big fight. He was like 27-0. Giasov is like I think it was like 13 or 14-0 or something like that coming in. But the Calderon guy was a big guy, sturdy guy, but he just did not throw much at all. I don't remember what the punch stats were, but I'm sure they were very lopsided because dude didn't throw enough. But when he did throw something and it landed, you could tell it was pretty effective. But maybe the
He
stage
was, yeah.
for him.
He was 30. Now he's 40 and old. Yeah, so yeah, that's right.
Okay, cool. Yeah, the other guy, yeah, this was his big moment, and
Harold Calderon.
yeah,
That's
Harold Calderon. I hadn't seen him, but like I said, he looked
27 and 0. Wow, he was actually coming in.
see, he looked like he had the fundamentals and all that stuff, but
Mm.
he just was not engaging at all, and it's unfortunate because it'd be interesting if we see him
Yeah,
on TV again. That was an opportunity. Unfortunate
well,
for
he
him.
beat Darvis Perez. Yeah, so
Okay, that's
he knocked him out in the first
Darvish
round. That
Perez.
guy. Yeah,
Okay, that's it. Something. Well, we didn't see that version of him last night, and like I said, maybe it could have been because of the Shockham's movement, and he didn't want
right.
to take that return fire. But yeah, that wasn't a good one. But the fight of the night, I guess you could say, and this is of the entire night, was actually Ramala Ali taking
Oh,
on Julisa Guzman. This was a female fight, and Ramala Ali had in principle an
another
agreement.
Ali.
Yeah, she had in principle an agreement to take on, I believe it's Mercado, who was the champion there at the weight, and basically Ramala Ali. And this was a good fight, back and forth fight between the two. She got stopped in the seventh round. A huge left from Guzman dropped her, and she tried to get up, couldn't do it. It was a very
Mhm.
good fight, and I thought both had some pretty solid moments that they showed there. So definitely
Right.
worthwhile. So that was the fight of the night, in my opinion, right there. Ramla Ali, Julisa Guzman,
You
very good
also
style contrast.
that grandson of Muhammad Ali, Nico. He looks good at the moment.
Yeah, he haven't.
Walsh.
He
Yeah.
got a draw in his last fight.
Oh, he did all right. Then
Not that
strike.
that's
Yes.
not that that's that's a bit the draw is a bad thing, but
Yeah.
apparently many people thought he deserved to lose that fight. He
Right.
he looks good against the level
He's
of
a
competition that he's in with, but
he's a puncher, right? I mean, more. He looks like more of a puncher than a boxer or
yeah,
aggressive.
he hasn't really faced anyone. And I guess in this
Yeah.
last fight, I didn't catch the entirety of the fight. When I came in, it was already going on, but I caught like the
Mm,
last few rounds of it, and ended up being
that's
a draw. Many thought he lost. That fight got a gift being a draw, but I didn't see the
it's
whole fight.
same with that Tony Morrison's son. He's like everybody wants to see him, get far as possible because
Oh, yeah.
he's the son
Well, he's
of.
got a couple of them out there. That I know Trey
Yeah,
Licky
now,
got knocked out.
yeah, yeah, but now there's another son of
Yeah, there is
Tony.
another son.
He
Yeah, I can't
maybe
remember his
better.
name, but yeah, they
I,
do want to see him get far. But
I hope.
that can be tough. That can be
Yeah,
tough,
yeah,
especially if
Trey.
they're thinking you're gonna be like your dad or whatever.
Oh yeah, Trey is just a puncher, but I mean against tomato cans he does well, obviously, but
Yeah, but they
yes,
certainly do. Nico Ali Washa did service with all the Muhammad
yeah,
Ali.
hype.
Yeah, like come on, this guy is not
Wait, whose son is here? He's the son of Ali's daughter or something
yeah,
like that. Oh
Rashida
yeah,
is his daughter, Rashida Ali, but Rashida, I guess Ali Walsh now
yeah,
or something
because
like
he's
that. But yeah,
yeah.
she's the son of, or he's the son of her. But they also have another son who's doing MMA
Oh,
in some capacity. I haven't seen him, but I saw a little picture on on
mm,
uh, on YouTube. You know how they can have little pictures or whatever in a post, and they were saying that they were making Ali name history or something like that. We keep the name going or whatever. They're
yeah.
trying. You
Well,
gotta give it to them. They're trying.
yeah. They gotta try. Yeah. No, that the grandchildren are grown up.
Oh yeah, certainly. Harlem Boxing Talk says, "What do you guys think Canelo would end up fighting, or who do you guys think Canelo would end up fighting?" Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
know they were talking about a bunch of stuff. You were
I hope
mentioning
he's.
Bobby Jack, right?
Yeah, but no, but Jack has said. I saw that he made a statement that he's not going to fight because They wanted him to like drop 20 pounds, I believe.
Like, what the heck? No,
Yeah,
never make no
20
sense.
pounds under, just like he wrote. Yeah, 20 pounds under the cruiserweight limit. So, that would be just nonsense for
Yeah,
him
that
now.
would be. And then supposedly they would want the title on the line as well.
Yeah, of course. Sugar Ray Leonard versus Donny alone, that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's crazy. So yeah, the Hardline put that battle. Jack apparently said Canelo wanted him at 180 pounds. Yeah,
so,
I mean,
yeah,
especially at Battle Jack's age, yeah, that makes no sense for him to do such. So good call in not doing that. If Canelo wants to go up there at 180, he needs or at cruiserweight, he needs to fight at the actual weight. I didn't hear about that
maybe,
with Makabu, but maybe he felt a different type of way with Makabu.
yeah. I know that. I mean, it would make a lot more logic for him to fight Bivol again, for instance, or something like that. But I'm not
Yeah,
sure. I'm not
Rodolfo.
sure he's keen on that fight. Huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, right. Rodolfo says, I think he'll end up fighting Charlo. Canelo knows for a fact that his reputation has been torn apart for not taking the Benavidez fight, so I don't know why he won't take it. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I don't know why. That seemed like the fight is. I mean, this was the point where they
just a
fought at
second.
enough reasonable time in between each other, and it seemed that it was the optimal time for them to take on each other at this particular point. So yeah, that fight should be the one that's happening next. He had the September date. Benavidez didn't have a date. They were both coming off of wins, and they were both available. And this would have been the optimal time for it. So I don't know why that fight didn't or isn't happening, but definitely doesn't look good on Canelo's part in that sense, especially if you're jumping around trying to get guys to come to 180. Uh, I know he said he's want the Bivol fight at 175, but that's not going to happen. Bivol, I saw something where they're focused on trying to get the fight with Arthur Beterbiev, which I'm cool with as well, because yeah, I think we need that fight at 175. Makes more sense. And the Charlo fight, it would be cool and all if Charlo weren't coming off of a 2-year layoff. If we're talking about Jamal Charlo, so given that, yeah, I don't know what to make of that one either. So Benavidez is just the optimal fight, right? That's the
Yeah,
one that should be happening. So it's crazy. Rodolfo said, yeah, Badu Jack was 90% done and Canelo hit him with the weight clauses galore. Yeah, that's crazy. I don't like all those weight stipulations. I know it's happened. It's always happened. Even dating back in history, there were situations where it'd be these weight clauses and even way back
mm,
talking like late 1800s, early 1900s ish type stuff. But yeah, where you had to come in and weigh in at a certain weight day of or at fight time. It's crazy. Rodolfo Rivera says, is the Moro fight on though with David? I know that's one where I saw reporting that they were going to be making that fight. I don't think anything in an official capacity has been done yet, Rodolfo, but I have been seeing those same rumors and reporting that that's the fight that is now being focused on for Benavidez and David
yeah,
Morrell, which I like that fight for sure, but I wish we could have gotten the
huge fight
Benavidez
too.
versus Canelo fight first because I like Morrell. He looks good. He looks to have the goods, and I think he's ready. But I just feel like, man, us not getting that Benavidez Canelo fight is robbing us of a fight that would have been. I mean, it could have happened a couple of years ago, but that being said, now seems like the right time, regardless, given what each of them did. And I thought that
Yeah,
Ryder fight was going to lead into that, but
but if Benavides beats Morel, then Canelo will have no excuse at all not to fight him. Of course, then he will be forced to fight him or retire. That's how it's
yeah,
gonna be.
yeah, I thought
So
it would have been cool to have Morrell take on the winner of Benavidez Canelo at some point.
yeah,
Uh,
that too.
Seemed to make more sense.
But
But
yeah,
but now, hey, this is where it's
yeah,
leading to.
that's boxing. That's politics. That's boxing BS.
Morel has looked very good, and
Yeah,
I think he's capable of winning. He's very skilled. I
he
think
is.
the odds will be with Benavidez.
He's
Certainly,
also
but if he were to upset the apple cart with Benavidez, then that throws
mm,
off another big fight that we could have had in the sport, you know?
he's also tall enough for Benavides. I mean, that's an advantage that would be a big and will be if they fight Benavides and Canelo. I mean, imagine that huge height advantage for and reach as well for
Yeah.
Benavides. Mm.
Yeah, right. So yeah, it will be very interesting. So maybe that's what we end up getting there.
Yeah,
Hardline Rodolfo, we get Canelo in there for Charlo, I guess. I don't know. At this particular point, Benavidez is a fight that should be happening, and the fact that that's not happening is a letdown for sure. Most
yeah,
certainly
but not
a
the only
letdown.
one. Not the only ones in this year,
Oh yeah,
or
yeah,
last.
true. Certainly not the only one. Certainly not. And lastly, on the stuff that happened this past weekend, we talked about a big Fraze Clark, uh, British
Yeah,
heavyweight, took on Maurice Wack. I believe that's his name, first name, Maurice
yeah,
Wack,
wah,
who's a
wah.
veteran of fighting some of the best heavyweights, usually
The
on the losing
chin,
end, but a
the
sort of
chin.
measuring stick.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's a measuring stick guy. Fraze Clark was able to pull off I believe, it was a unanimous decision over him. Yeah, points victory. Yeah, he won pretty much on every scorecard, rightfully so. And I know they were talking about Big Frage against Fabio Wardley. I want to see it. I think Fabio Wardley wins that fight. Uh,
mm,
I don't. Yeah, this was a measuring stick fight for him. That being said, I like Bartley. He's a bit more mobile, or at least has a bit more fluidity to him than Clark does, at least at this
yeah,
moment. Now it'll be interesting to see how Clark power translate if he's in a firefight. Haven't seen him in a firefight, and I think
Fabio.
Bartley would make him fight fire with fire, which would be very interesting.
Oh
So
yeah. Hmm.
maybe we get that since they were talking about it happening before this
Yeah,
fight happened.
yeah. It was supposed to happen, and something I don't know what.
But
Uh,
Wardley said that the boxer team was just BSing, that they didn't think it was
right,
going to happen at all.
right.
And they were just
I don't
talking.
know really.
So
Well,
maybe
if
we
he
get it
doesn't,
next time.
yeah, if he doesn't fight him, he's got plenty others. I'm sure he can fight. I mean,
But
yeah,
yeah, we're both in agreement on Wardley. Looks pretty promising as long as he keeps it
yeah,
up. So yeah, hopefully we get to see
yes.
him back out there.
So far, my favorite British at the moment, my favorite British heavyweight. Hope, yeah.
Fabio Wardley, folks. If you haven't seen him, check him out. Hardline Boxing Talk said Zanovic Alam Kanali. The stage is set. The orchestra is engaged, and now time to see if he can dance with some top names. Sadly, I don't think they will want any part of him. Oh yes, Zanovic. Zanovic. Yeah, we've been talking about that for
Yeah,
a while. And a couple of guys have gone up to 168 now in terms of Demetrius Andre. That was seemingly going to be the
he's got the
matchup to take
tools.
him over.
Yeah, I
And I
think
thought
he's
that was a
got. Yeah,
good matchup. I was just going to say, I thought it was a good matchup. You know, you
yeah.
could argue a 50-50 matchup or favorite. Andre would likely be the favorite, probably. But of course, we didn't get
Mm,
to see it.
yeah. I mean, he's got the tools. Definitely, he can also hit and box, punch and box and all that. But maybe not always. It is he doesn't always look that he. I mean, totally, perhaps motivated enough to like in his last fight, I believe it was that he didn't really impress. He was supposed to get a guy out of there, but he didn't, and maybe sometimes he likes to play it safe. Even I don't know. I hope not, but we'll see when
Yeah,
he fights someone like Andre
yeah,
or yeah.
yeah. So it's very interesting. So yeah, we'll have to see. I don't know who it's going to be. I
Mm,
was looking at the rating. This is a June rating, of course. He's number two. Triple G's number one, but I don't think Triple G is going to fight him because, from what I've heard, Triple G only
no.
wants a big business fight, and that's why
Big
we haven't seen him.
business.
Is something of that nature. He's only going to do a big fight. This is going to, I guess, generate him the most money, and we know that that won't be the Alam Canoli fight. Uh,
Yeah.
Carlos Adames, but I saw that Carlos Adames
Oh
is
yeah.
fighting someone. Carlos Adames.
Adames is one of the few real. I mean,
He
real,
has
really,
one schedule.
really really exciting talents at 160 right now. One of the few. Yeah.
Yep. So he's taking on Julian J. Rock Williams on
Oh
June
yeah.
24th. So that's coming up. That's
Oh,
coming up this next weekend, as a matter of fact. So Adamas J. Rock is going to be happening. So he's out of the picture at least right now. Then we know Liam Smith. I believe him and Chris Eubank Jr. are going to fight again. So
mhm. Oh
there's
yeah.
one day Lara. I remember seeing him being mentioned with
Raj.
someone.
Raj. Yeah.
I don't know if he's. I don't know if he has
Lara.
a tight schedule or something. But
Lara should just retire. I don't know why he's still in the
yeah,
game. You
still
know.
hanging on though with the American Dream, Erizlandi Lara. But I
Either
saw
it's
his
for
name
the
mentioned with
money.
someone.
Yeah, either it's for the money or the love of the game or both. I don't know. Well, anyway,
Excuse me, yeah, mix of both, but they still have him ranked number 5 at as far as the
one
ring
for the
rating.
money, one for the money, two for the show.
One for the money, two for the show. And then they still had Derevianchenko, who fought Munguia at
Oh,
160.
he was really impressive in that fight. I mean, nobody. I don't
I
think
still need to
you.
watch that.
I mean, that was a total slugfest, and he did pretty very well, especially considering his age and that he's been through some really tough wars. And in the
Mhm.
end, of course, Magia got the better of him. He dropped him in the last round, but he was, before that, he was still in the fight. Definitely.
Yeah, I heard some people saying that they felt that Derevianchenko deserved the nod. So,
I would say so. I mean, I saw the highlights of almost each round. Perhaps I'd say it was very close, but Mangia definitely earned it with that knockdown, if
mm,
nothing. So yeah,
I
but
need to
it was
go.
close. Yeah.
I need to watch that. Matter of fact, I might try to do that today. As a matter, when we're done here, I might try to go ahead and give that a watch here today.
The
Um,
thing,
uh,
it seems that Mangia is rather hittable. He's not really
certainly
defensively
is.
sound. Yeah, so that can become a problem when he faces guys like Benavides and Morel, and if he does, hopefully he
Yeah.
does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he I think depending on the type of guy he's in there with, he's gonna have to resort to, kind of slugging it out to a certain degree.
Oh
We've
yeah.
seen him with some guys who can move well but aren't like the elites of the division, like Dennis Hogan, the one guy
Yeah.
Kelly, who's I think a British fighter
Gilrain,
or Irish.
the Jimmy. Yeah.
Yeah, he when they were moving on Munguia, he was having a little bit trouble
Yeah,
catching
and
up.
it was so funny when he hurt. There was a round where Mangia hurt, I believe, Derevchenko, and you could see Oscar in the background going like this, all crazed up. Come on, like he thought that
Like,
was
hold
it.
on. He's like,
Yeah,
hey, all my top level stars keep battling against me. Like, I got Ryan
yeah,
Garcia going at me. We know what happened with
yeah.
Canelo. I need you to come through right here, homie.
Yeah, Mangia is now his last, golden boy, his last favorite.
He's Vanguilla. He's got Virgil Ortiz, so hey, they have
Oh
some good guys
yeah,
under Vender. So those two are the ones poised to carry things right now.
kind
Um,
of sad, yeah, to see what has become, but I guess he has himself probably to blame mostly.
yeah, always something going on. I will say, always
Yeah,
done something going on.
sometimes yeah, it's a little bit about boxers also, perhaps
Yeah.
becoming too big, for their, you know,
Oh yeah,
britches. Yeah, sometimes their egos grow, and then I don't,
certainly.
yeah, I don't need him anymore. What's yeah,
Yeah, you do have a mix of that too. I'm sure
yeah,
thrown in there, but yeah, interesting stuff. So yeah, for Jonathan Alam Canoli, 160 is pretty much wide open, and hey, hard to tell where it's gonna go at this point.
mm,
At 160, Pierce Martin says, "Sorry, gentlemen, a bit late. Hope you're good. Hey, it's all good, Martin. Appreciate you being here, buddy. Anytime we can have you drop by, it's always a good thing. Salute to you, Martin. Thanks for
Fleck.
being here."
Fleck, now is not the time to start with the boxing history talk. Come on, man. Spare
Uh,
that for next time.
Yeah, Heartland Boxing Talk says he reminds me of the excellent Dmitry Pirog. Oh yeah, Dmitry Pirog, who injury kind of ended his
Yeah, yeah.
trajectory right when he was starting to take off.
The first
Injury
guy to
derailed him,
beat Danny Jacobs. Yeah,
knocked him out. I remember that.
one punch, and he was actually losing the fight, but he just pulled that. I
Where's
believe
Pirog
left
from? You remember where he's from? Is he
Russia, from
okay,
Russia.
Russian?
Yeah,
Okay, good to go. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, Pirog. Hey, he was a pretty solid. He had
yeah,
he was skilled for sure, but he can move well. As you know, he had
mm,
that going for him, and seemingly had some pop to him. So
yeah.
would have been
He,
nice to see how he would have ended up going in terms of.
yeah, it was a shame.
Yeah,
He did have a long title championship reign, but yeah, what
I
can you
feel
do?
yeah him and I feel like him and Triple G could have met at some point. You know, which would have been a very
Yeah,
interesting fight.
yeah. Piero was very technically sound. Yeah,
Oh yes, indeed he was. Rodolfo Rivera Jr. That was guess what Martin still here. Hardline boxer talk to Rebianchenko gave Golovkin a hard fight. Yeah, that was another one right there that was close where you had some people who favored Rebianchenko in that contest.
I still haven't seen that one, but I heard many say that he should have won.
Worthwhile. From
Yeah,
all indication, I'm guessing this Derevianchenko Munguia might have been along those lines as well, where Derevianchenko,
yeah. Well,
hey,
great fight, really great fight. Yeah,
yeah, he brought it, and but yeah, in that Golovkin fight, he had his moments for sure. He really made Golovkin work for every single round, and it
yeah.
was a close fight.
Gonna have to find it. Really, I mean, it's a shame I haven't seen it yet.
Oh yes, yes. Flat boxing, salute flat boxing. Appreciate you dropping by, buddy. Yeah, you caught us here at the tail end. You see, we're about 2 hours in, almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to jump off. Said just found out about the non-Pharrell Jack Randall. He's credited as being the creator of
Oh,
the
Rand.
1-2 combination. Interesting story. Non-Pharrell Jack Randall. Oh, yeah, I think you found one. I don't know. Jack Randall. I had to look into him. Jack
Maybe
Randall.
you meant all right. It's Randall, not Dempsey. Wow.
Yeah, Jack Randall. Okay, yeah. So this is going way back right here. The non-Pharrell was Irish fighter. Oh yeah.
That was some weird. Yeah, kind
Oh
of.
yeah, he fought. He was born in 1794 and died in 1828. He was 16-0. Interesting.
Mm,
I had to look into him. Good stuff there, Flack. Yeah, that's going back in that era. Yeah, I don't know a ton about those in the well, that was parallel with the bare knuckle era right there, or at least some of the great bare knuckle fighters. So I know about some of them, but not like in full totality or detail. So that's one definitely worthy of checking out there. Flat boxing, the non-Pharrell Jack Randall, another unrivaled one. British, and that's
wow.
listed as the Irish lad. So maybe he's from Ireland.
He
Um,
he.
Interesting.
Yeah. He lived long ago. Wow.
Yeah, he died at 33. It looks like similar to non-Pharrell Jack Dempsey, who died of tuberculosis at I believe it was 32. Who was another non-Pharrell, of course.
Mm.
Flat Boxing says, did Lopez actually retire and vacate? Yeah, apparently the title has been vacated, but I guess you can say he's retired. I guess you can
Yeah.
say,
For now.
I guess he's retired. Flat Teofimo, but I'm sure the right size bag, and that is a bag that contains some type of monetary value, will get him out of retirement. Where that's going to come from, I don't know, because I guess he's in a contract with Top Rank. So he tried that
Yeah.
before, it didn't quite work out. So maybe they can work some out. Maybe he'll have to buy himself out of his contract and then go to the highest bidder, which some have done in the past. But that being said, still a major if for Teofimo Lopez. So we'll see.
Mm.
But apparently right now retired.
Hmm. Well.
Interesting stuff. Hardline Boxing says, Boz, watch it. Golovkin is struggling at times. Yes, he is indeed. So yeah, worthy of checking out there, Boz. Rodolfo says, look like it's flat. So
Yeah.
So yeah, folks. About that time right there. About that time.
Yeah.
We've been going at it for sure. I know Boz is
I'm all done. I'm finished, ready to go.
Boz is pretty much done here. Real quick, I'll just say, of course, we have some stuff coming in this weekend. Joshua Franco versus Ioka. I think in Kazuto Ioka and Joshua Franco. That's going to be a good little matchup. Adamas Williams this weekend. We're also going to have Erickson Lubin versus Arias. Luis, I think it's Luis Arias. Which
Yeah,
should be
nice.
a pretty interesting fight. We also have Berlanga Quigley, which is meant to see where Edgar Berlanga is. I'm still not. We'll see. I'm not 100% sold on him, of course, but I understand. Hey, the hype exceeded him. That being said, we'll see how he looks now with about a year off, and I guess working on some things. We'll also get Adam Kanowski, who I thought was going to be done, but it looks like he's coming back for one more fight. So he's going to be fighting on that Berlanga card as well. So, folks, hey, we appreciate everyone being here. Of course, this has been great. We had a lot of good discussion. We even got into a little bit of history here. Flat Boxing dropped that knowledge on the nonpareil Jack Rand.
Yeah.
And, of course, we're talking a little bit of history with Hardline, Rodolfo, etc. Martin, appreciate you dropping by here. Everyone has dropped in. Zone 6 Boxing. Mr. Paz was in here for a minute. Appreciate you, Mr. Paz, all that good stuff. But yes, we will come back. And as mentioned, tomorrow, hey, the intent is to do this Jack Johnson show. So Jack Johnson discussion. If you drop by for that, it's set for 2 p.m. Hey, we can talk about it. Let's do some things. It's on Juneteenth. And with that, of course, I think we'll have a good time. I hope to catch you all there. And I appreciate every one of you. Boz as well. So salute. Thanks all. We'll be in contact.